Hills Pruden, and we are at another episode of Leadership is Served. And I have a treat for you, leadership community. I have none other than Dr. Shaughnassee Vines of Coceaux Health, and she's going to tell you about her company. This is going to be an exciting time today. Dr. Vines, tell the leadership community who you are, what you do, and what your business do.
Well, hello, community. Again, I'm Dr. Shaughnassee Vines. I'm a certified nurse midwife. So my specialty is in all things women's health. So pregnancy and beyond, and as well as before. So the teens are covered too. But I, again, as you said, am the founder of Coceaux Health. And Coceaux Health is actually a telehealth platform. So we are bringing health to you. We saw through the pandemic that you couldn't always get to the places you wanted to get to, including the health provider's office. And so we bring that service to you where you can log in on your phone, log in on your laptop, and we do basically women's health services online. So things like birth control, we consult, we do pregnancy testing, different testing. We talk about other women's health issues. We can prescribe medication as needed. And we're actually licensed across 3 states. So we can serve people in Virginia, Maryland, actually 4 states. 5. Virginia, Maryland, Georgia, Illinois, and California. So we're looking forward to doing that. We named it Coceaux Health because we really want to target our women of color, and we want to pair them with people who look like them because it's so important. In our community, you know, there's a trust issue there. So we want to build trust. We want to increase access. And that's what we're all about, serving the women that are in our community and just trying to make a difference by showing people that people who look like you can help take care of you too.
Absolutely. I love everything that you said there. And so before we get into kind of like our standard leadership questions, because we have candid, uncensored conversations here on Leadership is Served. Tell the leadership community why this industry, why did you want to address the pain point of making sure that women of color, you know, take care of themselves and it's done by someone who looks similar to them. So tell us a little bit about how you walked into that industry.
Yeah, thank you. So I've actually always kind of wanted to go into this health kind of field. I just changed what I decided to do when I became a nurse. So I love working with people. So it started my nursing career. And then I loved doing women's health. And that was my passion as a nurse. So I specialized in this industry. And it really meant a lot for me to see people that look like me. I remember my first women's health provider was a male, and I just went there because my mom took me there. And, you know, he was a good physician, but it would mean so much if I saw like a Black woman taking care of me, knowing that I can do that. And so actually, I didn't know a lot about midwives. I didn't know midwives still existed, what they did. And when I realized the scope of what midwives could do, I said, that's who I want to be to other people. And that's what I want to do. And I want to be that for people who, you know, don't think that there are midwives of color out there. And so that really is my passion, to meet people who look like me and know that when they come into my office or when they come into the virtual clinic, that there's a safe place for them. So it just kind of started with, I think I needed to see that person growing up. And so I want to be that person for young women, for older women, for women who are in their 30s or 40s, just to know, you know, you got someone who's going through very similar issues as you. So that way you feel safe when you come to your provider's office.
Awesome. I like that. And my primary care physician is a woman of color, and I specifically sought out a woman of color this go around. In the past, I generally didn't care about whether it was male, female, or what color, whatever, but it seems like as I get older and I educate myself more, and as it appears that when you get older, more things start to happen to you, and it has a lot to do with your genetic background, your lifestyle, you know, how you eat, and that's a whole nother show about how I eat, you know, and all of that stuff. And so it is good to have someone who is familiar, you know, with my community, maybe my bad eating habits that may be prevalent because of the community I came from and different things like that. And so this go around for my primary care physician, I did say, I want a woman of color. And so when I went to look for her online, on a list of doctors that my insurance covered. I specifically went to look for her and I found her. And boy, I tell you, I am not dissatisfied.
Yeah, it made a
And
world of difference, I'm sure.
yes, and she holds me accountable in a sister aunt kind of way. It's like,
Yeah.
it's like, have you done this? And it's like, yeah. She's like, no,
Right.
your blood work say something different. So let's talk about what you're really doing. But it's in a educated sister, it's non-combative, not adversarial. I learned a long time ago, you don't lie to your doctor.
Right, very important.
And like she said, they can tell, but I still try to lie. I still try to lie in the beginning or whatever, but for me, it makes a world of difference. So I totally agree. And then something else she said, I am in a different industry, but I do similar, my reason for going in the industry is similar. So I am a C-suite career elevation expert. I work with female senior leaders. These are the individuals who are usually director or above, or they're entrepreneurs of their own company. And so I work with them on leading change, on leading people, using automation, because we all want to make money while we sleep, as well as analytics, how to forecast, how to monitor, how to follow up using data to make sure that you're using your resources, your time, your money, and your talents in a particular direction. And so I do that for females. I have a specific fondness for women of color, because I am a dualpreneur. I have my consulting business as well as I am still in the C-suite. Yes. As a C-suite executive, I don't see a whole lot of women, let alone a whole lot of women of color, and so my goal is to provide women who want the senior leadership role or who are in the senior leadership role, the competencies. I wrote a book called the Pruden Principles, 10 Strategies to Propel Women to the C-Suite. So I told them all the secrets. Look, here's the playbook. Follow the playbook. This is what you need to focus on. This is, whether you want to be a generalist or a specialty, so that we can increase the number of women, specifically women of color, in senior leadership positions. And so my avatar, my ideal client would be a woman of color who has an interest in either owning her own business or senior leadership. And so very different industries. Yours is more on the service side. I'm on the service side, but my service is to help elevate their competencies. Right. So I'm excited. So let's talk a little bit about leadership. So when you hear the question, are leaders born or created? Tell me your thoughts on that. And this is simply your thoughts.
So, you know what? I think there's a little bit of both. And I say that because I come from a family of entrepreneurs. My grandparents started their own business, 65 years ago or so. And this was in a time, civil rights era. This was when Black people, quite frankly, didn't own businesses, weren't given opportunities. And so there was this like gusto to, if no one's going to give me something, I think that's in our community, I'm going to create something of my own, So I grew up around entrepreneurship my entire life. My family still owns that business. My grandparents are still kind of hands-on. My parents, manage the daily day-to-day things. So I grew up in that. But I also think that it's some creation part that goes on too, because everyone doesn't always come from that background. People come from so many different backgrounds. And I think it's a combination of who you're around and, how you're developed that kind of takes that inner desire that people have and starts to hone it, starts to shape it, starts to turn you into a transformative leader, a person who, creates other leaders, a person who's inspirational and visionary and can manage those things. So I think there's got to be a little something, internal, that spark, but then your environment just flames that fire. So that way you can grow into a leader that's going to really have a strong impact.
I love your answer. And I totally agree. I think it's a little bit of both. And I'll give it one example of why I think it's a little bit of both. We both know that as leaders that, as we go through things, we learn what to do and what not to do. So definitely they are created. That the creation is the trial by fire. You help fine tune your skills as you are moving in your industry, or as you move, you learn what to say, what not to say, what to do, what not to do. And sometimes some of those lessons are hard learned lessons. You get hit in the head real hard. But then I have an extracurricular activity, which is I love people watching. And so I can sit and I love kids and I love the elderly, and so I watch little people, our little citizens who've only been on this earth about 3 years or 4 years, and I watch how they operate on a playground. And you will have some little citizens who just naturally determine that they need to take charge. So they'll start delegating and they'll start assigning and they'll go get resources to do whatever that group activity is that they're trying to do on the playground. And then you will have some little citizens who are natural followers. They're waiting for the next person to lead. They're not going to say anything, but they're waiting for Shaughnassee to lead, or they're waiting for Karen to lead. And so they'll sit back and just tell me what to do. I'm in it, but tell me what to do. And so these citizens have not been on earth that long, but for the one who takes charge, for the one who assess talent, I want Shaughnassee on my team, but I don't want Karen on my team because she can't hit, in softball or basketball or shooting basketball. I think that is a natural leadership trait, that they are exhibiting at a very early age with a very limited track record at that time. And so I do think it's a combination of both. And I think what happens is for that particular leader who exhibited it early, then anything that they do on top of that as they get older is cultivating, and it's the do's and the don'ts. It's elevating their skills. And so by the time that they become adults or, professionals, now they fine-tuned a whole lot, and they have sometimes a whole lot more experience than their peers who didn't exhibit those traits at a young age, because they have a lot of experiences to reflect on. So I totally agree with you that it is a combination of both. So let's move on to evidence. I call them the young people because I put myself in the older category nowadays. I'm 55 now, but the young people always say you have to have receipts. You have to have receipts when you do something. The receipts show that you know what you're doing, you know what you're talking about. And receipts are not necessarily associated with money. Receipts are associated with the product of your being in whatever space that you are in. And I always tell my leadership community that when I ask someone, or even them, what do you do? I don't care about your title. I want to know what results do you generate? What pain point do you solve? And so when you think about leadership, what do you think is the evidence or the receipts of true leadership as we move in this leadership space?
Yeah, that's a great question. Dr. Karen, I used to teach a leadership course at Norfolk State for nursing students. And it's one thing that I learned as, an instructor for that I think I just carried into my personal life, and I will always carry it with me. And there really is a difference between, to me, of leadership and management. Anyone could be a good manager and can do tasks and execute them and delegate tasks. But I really think the evidence of a true leader and a strong leader is you are able to create other leaders. Like, you have a vision and other people can see that vision in you. And because of you being in their life, now they are some type of leader. And it doesn't mean like they have to be some entrepreneur or anything, but like they are doing different things and making changes in their own life. I think leaders have to inspire some type of change. Like for me in healthcare, I look at myself as a leader, not necessarily because I have my own business or my own practice or anything like that. But if I can talk to a patient and inspire you maybe to change the way you eat or the way you think about exercise and living, and now your life is different because you came to see me and meet me, that's change. So I think that if you're going to be a leader, it's more than just having a position. It's more than having a title. It's more than, you have people under you. Of course, it's part of it. But are people changed? Are they inspired because of you having been there? Can they see your vision and then take part of that and then create their own vision from that?
I love that. I love that. Are people different when you move away from that space? Right. I love that. That is, you're all up in my head here. You're all up in my head here because I co-sign that message that you just gave to that answer. I co-sign that wholeheartedly, 100%. I do believe that the evidence of a true leader is other leaders. I do think it is your role and you don't have to kind of set out and say that I have to create leaders. I think by your example in the space that you are in, the impact that you make in the space that you're in, you will naturally create others to lead in a certain way, whether it's within their position or who wants to elevate to make more of an impact in whatever it is they're doing. So I holistically, it used to be a meme or something on social media that would have the footsteps, and it would say that if you are a leader without followers, and if you are a leader who do not create leaders, then you're just taking a walk.
Yeah,
and I totally agree with that, because I do believe as leaders we have to make an impact. You have to impact. Now you can impact them one way or another. So I think the desire is to impact them positively. But there will be an impact if you are a leader in any space. And again, leadership is not a title. Leadership is just that, your impact in the space that you are operating in. Because I know a lot of, I call them go-to people that don't have the, I'll do the air quotes, leadership title. Throughout my career, depending on where I was working, I wouldn't even make a move without consulting with them.
Right.
As they were so knowledgeable in that space of where I was operating, and their perspective was needed before we try to enact whatever change or policy change. Because my specialty is human resources. And so we do a whole lot of different things, and it has a lot to do with change. And so, yeah, these go-to people don't necessarily have a title. Before I got into senior leadership, I used to have it used to be a joke that people used to come in and out of my office. They thought I was like selling candy or something. They're like, why are people always coming in? I was a confidant. And no matter what level of leadership or level the employee was, I would have a front level employee say, can I just talk to you off the record? And that always make my skin crawl when they do that. But it's like, yes. And then I had to give them my disclaimer, as long as it's not against the law, against policy or whatever, then I might have to turn you in. So I just want to let you know. And then that will be from your front line to vice presidents who had become confidant. This is before I got in leadership, but they wanted to run things past me, is how they would put it to me. Let me just run something past you. This is what we're thinking about doing. And so I was an unofficial leader, but way before I got the title. And so when I got the title, it was helpful because I had already built the rapport, and I had already obtained the respect of a lot of different people at a lot of different levels, and it helped me to navigate in various spaces. am excited about this episode, and I look forward to seeing you on next Saturday, Eastern Standard Time in the US, for another episode of Leadership is Served. Bye.